Let's talk about the Sprint Retrospective. For some teams, it's just the worst meeting on the calendar, right? A total chore. But for others, it's the secret weapon. It's the engine that makes them absolutely unstoppable. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you get from that dreaded meeting to that unstoppable engine. There are really two faces to this meeting. On one side, you hear people call it a blame session, a venting meeting, or just a complaint forum, basically a total waste of time. But then on the other side, you hear it described as a scientific ritual for continuous improvement, something that builds deep trust and flat out accelerates a team's performance. These are two completely different realities. Our goal here is to give you the keys to get your team firmly planted in that second column. So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why this is way more than just another meeting. Then we'll dive into its real purpose as an improvement ritual. After that, I'm going to give you a 5-step formula you can use tomorrow. We'll cover who needs to be there and who doesn't. And finally, we'll look at what it takes to go from just having good retros to becoming truly unstoppable. Okay, first up, more than just a meeting. Let's bust a few myths right off the bat and get crystal clear on what the mission of this event actually is. At its absolute core, the Sprint Retrospective is an improvement workshop. It's that simple. It's where the team looks in the mirror and inspects how they worked, not just what they built. And here's the key. They don't just talk. They find the one most important thing to improve. And then, critically, they commit to actually doing it in the very next sprint. It's all about focused, immediate action. And this right here, this is the most important mindset shift you can possibly make. This meeting is not about pointing fingers. Think of it more like a scientific improvement ritual. You're treating your team's process like a series of small, controlled experiments, all designed to discover what helps you work better together. So if it's a scientific ritual, what's the point of the experiment? Well, that brings us to our second section, the improvement ritual. This is all about getting to the why. When you strip away all the jargon, the purpose is incredibly simple and powerful. Make the next sprint better than the last one. That is it. That's the whole game. Every single conversation, every data point, every action item should serve that one single goal. But making it better isn't just about code. This is a huge point. A world-class retrospective looks at the entire system. It's about the people and how they communicate. It's about the process and the workflow. It's about the tools you're using. It's about the quality of the work itself. And it's about the overall value flow. How smoothly does an idea travel from someone's head all the way to a happy customer? Okay, so we know what it is, we know why it matters. Now for the really practical part, the 5-step formula. This is your blueprint for running a world-class retrospective every single time. Look, a professional retrospective isn't just some random chat. It has 5 clear stages. First, you set the stage. You create a safe space for an honest conversation. Then you gather data. What actually happened? After that, you generate insights. Why did it happen? Then, the most important part, decide what to do. You create a real actionable plan. And finally, you close the retro, making sure everyone leaves aligned and motivated. Let's zoom in on gathering data for a second. Radical honesty here is non-negotiable. The team has to put everything on the table, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What went well? What was a total disaster? But this isn't just about feelings. Great teams bring facts to the table. They look at bottlenecks, things that didn't meet the definition of done, and they look at hard numbers like cycle time or bug counts. You need both to get the full picture. But, data by itself isn't enough. Step 3, generating insights, is the thinking stage. This is where you go from what happened to why it happened. A great little tool here is the 5 whys. For any problem, you just ask why 5 times to drill down past the surface symptoms and find the real root cause. This is how you spot the patterns that lead to breakthrough improvements. Now listen up, because this next point is where most retrospectives completely fail. Teams do all this great analysis, and then they create this huge laundry list of 10, 15 things they want to fix. And you know what happens? Nothing. Zero change. The rule is simple, and it is strict. Commit to a maximum of 1 to 3 high-impact improvements. Focus is everything.
All right, let's switch gears and talk logistics, the players and rules. Because honestly, creating the right environment is every bit as important as having the right process.
And the first rule is the most important one. It's an ironclad, non-negotiable law. Only the Scrum team attends. That means the developers, the product owner, and the Scrum Master. That's it. No stakeholders, no managers, no one else. This has to be a safe, private space for the team to be vulnerable. The second you break this rule, psychological safety goes right out the window. And inside that safe room, everyone has a part to play. The Scrum Master's job is to facilitate and to be the guardian of that psychological safety. The developers are the experts on the ground. They have to bring the honest observations and then own the improvements. And the product owner participates as a full-on team member, sharing friction and perspectives from the business side. Everyone's voice is equal. So you've got the right process, you've got the right people. How do you take it from just good to truly unstoppable? That's our last section. We're going to cover the common traps to avoid and really embrace the philosophy that makes this whole thing work. Anti-pattern number 1 is so critical we're saying it twice. Managers attending. The instant a manager with the power to hire, fire, or give raises is in that room, honesty evaporates. People stop thinking about process improvement and start worrying about their performance review. It just kills the entire purpose of the meeting. The second big anti-pattern is a blame culture. The moment the conversation shifts from what part of our process let us down to, okay, so who screwed up? You've already lost. The focus has to stay on improving the system, not pointing fingers at the people within it. And here's our old friend, the third anti-pattern, trying to fix everything at once. A retrospective that ends with a list of 10 awesome ideas is a failed retrospective. It feels productive, but it leads to zero actual change because everyone's overwhelmed. Remember the rule, 1 to 3 focused actions. That's it. So if you ever need that perfect, polished, interview-ready definition that wraps all this up, here it is. It covers the who, the Scrum team, the what, inspecting how things went, the why, to find high-impact improvements, and the how, by creating a concrete plan. It's a perfect summary. But what's the deep philosophy that powers all this? It's a concept called Kaizen, the principle of continuous improvement. The whole idea is that getting better isn't a project with an end date, it's a never-ending journey. And the Sprint Retrospective? It's the living, breathing embodiment of Kaizen. It's the beating heart of the whole thing. I absolutely love this final metaphor. The retrospective is the Scrum team's mirror. It forces you to take an honest, sometimes tough look at yourselves. But it's also your laboratory. It's the safe space where you get to design and run new experiments to get better. It's reflection and action, all rolled into one powerful event. And really, that's what this all comes down to. Every single sprint, your team is handed a mirror and a laboratory. You get a chance to be completely honest with yourselves, and you get a space to experiment fearlessly. So the only question left is, what are you going to create?